It looks like we're live. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Madcore Hunter podcast. Got me and Danny this week. We are trying a new software. So we'll see how this goes. It seems a lot easier and not as much complexity as what we were using, even though it was supposed to be a good program. But apologies for if there's been some audio um, effects and even video and such in the past. We're going to give this a run. This is supposed to be one of the better programs. Stuff's difficult. So, Danny, what's up, man?
Man, I just drove all day today, headed back to North Dakota here a week early. The North Dakota whitetail season comes in tomorrow, actually at noon. So I came back up for this. My dad was supposed to get in, and he's actually having some truck problems. So he spent the night. He didn't make it out of Florida, heading this way. He spent the night alongside the road, I guess, or at a truck stop or something, and had to get a mechanic out and do some work this morning. So he's back on the road today, but he probably won't get in until Saturday night or Sunday. So I'm be on my own doing a little hunting here starting tomorrow. But got some trail cam pics of a few good deer, and it's really warm, so I don't know what I'm going to get. It's a little different than I've had in years past, where I just had a bachelor group of bucks showing up every night. I'm not getting that. I'm getting a buck every 2 or 3 nights, not the same one, different deer. So definitely got some deer around, and uh, got a couple that definitely have my attention that I would like to see up close. So looking forward to that. And I kicked off my hunting season yesterday. I stayed in Wyoming one extra day before coming up because I'd originally planned to come to North Dakota on Wednesday, and got out for my first antelope hunt, archery. And had a pretty good day. It was raining and cooler there in Wyoming. Um, should be telling you that I got an antelope, in the freezer, but didn't quite go the way I thought it was going. It was first stock in a new area I'd never hunted, and it worked out, played out on video, everything. And had dialed, had him gonna come out at 55, and had dialed for it, and he walked out right where I wanted, but there was no cover, man. There was an old 2-track in there, and I'd seen him heading up a valley, and I watched him for a little while and decided, he might be worth taking a look at. And I was like, man, he's gonna walk straight up this valley. He's just feeding, not a care in the world. So I found a 2-track that got me a little closer, because I'd seen him from over a mile away or something, off of a dirt road, and found an old 2-track that nobody'd been on or anything. And I went down there and parked, and didn't even go that far, and got in there and set up on this valley. And like, there was one bush that was about a foot tall on just a little bit of a 3-foot rise in a hill. And it was just, ended up being 55 yards from that valley. And I set up a camera on tripod, and had the feet on my bow, set them both in front of me. And I kind of stood up to take a look, and dude, he was 85 yards, and he was coming right up the valley like I thought. And I was like, this is going to play out. And I had him at 80, and had no clue I was there, had him on video, and sort of crossed my mind to let a bomb fly. But I had shot and felt really good to 70. My 80, I hadn't shot enough to be real comfortable with. And I was like, just be patient. This is the first 20 minutes of hunting season, And anyway, he walked out at 55, had him on the camera. I'd quit looking at the camera, and I was having issues seeing through the screen on my camera. And it was not, the brightness was not turned up on it, so I couldn't see him very well. So I kind of just got it pointed in the right direction and everything. And he walked out, but right when he came out, man, he was looking uphill, and he's like, "What is that?" It was at that moment, I could have shot, but he definitely picked me off, and I had the bow in front of me, and he took a couple steps away from me, and was still broadside, and had kind of, stuck his head down like he was going to feed, but he was paying a lot of attention to whatever was going on. He wasn't scared, but he just didn't like what it was. And I know you've only gun hunted them, but antelope are tough, man. To do spot and stalk with a bow is extremely hard, and like just to have that opportunity occur with me filming by myself. I've had him on. It wasn't like real quick. I had the camera set up, had him feeding. He didn't know I was there. Anyway, I drew back, left the sight dialed at 55, and figured he was closer to 60. So normally I would aim, heart shot. And I aimed center mass on him, let fly, thought I heard it hit him, and he runs off and he does a circle, like a complete 360. I'm like, he's going down. And then he like keeps going as he gets all the way back around in the 360 and then just takes off down the valley. And I mean, he's hauling butt. I'm thinking, he's going down in a minute. And he keeps going, man. And he gets, the last time I seen him, he was about 350, 400 yards away, but he ran by a fence. So I was like, well, I can at least find out what's going on here. And I watched the video back and he drops majorly. Like he definitely reacts to the shot. Knew, he was alert, and, but it still felt like I'd hit him. I never could find my arrow. I fought on this and I should have been able to find the arrow. It was in a spot. I watched the video. It doesn't look like it's hanging out of him. There's no blood on him when he's running off. And, dude, I gave him a haircut. Like, from what I can tell on the video, it would have been a perfect double lung shot. He got out of dodge before the arrow got to him, and went right across the top of his shoulders and shaved some hair off of him, But I spent all day really, because I didn't know what had happened because of not finding the arrow. And I thought maybe, it had entered as he dropped and turned to go away. I thought maybe it entered and stayed in his cavity, but just couldn't find out, and I couldn't find him. And I was dealing with, I was on BLM where I shot him, but there was some private property that was in a hunter management program. And I thought, you got to get permission slips to be on that. Even though they were enrolled, you can hunt it, but it's like a first come, first serve deal you got to do on a daily basis, I think, or anyway, a date. So he had ran towards that. And anyway, I spent an hour probably looking for the arrow, and because it was in a spot that should have been able to find the arrow. I was shooting downhill into the bottom of a valley and everything, and just never could find the dang thing. It must have buried. I mean, that bow's shooting fast, and it really surprised me that it got out. And that was probably some of it. Just getting used to a new bow, shooting way flatter trajectory than I've been used to. And I think that was some of the reason I shot, on above him, was because I was adjusting for what I've been shooting, thinking I was going to have a little more arc in there. But I think my arrow hit exactly where I was aiming from what I could tell on the video. I got watched on the big screen. But anyway, ended up being a long day. I looked for him, couldn't find him. And I didn't want to give up because I didn't know. And I ended up finding his tracks, and there wasn't no blood. Just never was. The only thing I had was hair right at the shot. And I ended up deciding to move on because I had no service, so I couldn't apply for that HMA to look in some of the other spots I thought he may have went. And I left for a while and went and tried out just finding some other goats in different areas there and all that stuff. And in the afternoon, there was a rock that I had seen that sort of looked like an antelope, and it just kept sticking with me. I knew it was a rock, but it's just like, man, what if that's that goat? So long story short, like 3 or 4 hours later, I come back and I'm wanting to find out what that rock is. And I make a decision to try another road, and I get in from the other side, and I'm pulling up there to start glassing, and I see a goat standing on the hill. Dude, it's him. I find him, like I'd shot at like 9:30. I find him probably 1:00, and he's on this line of this HMA in this public, and I can't see no blood on him, but it's definitely the same goat. It's in the same area, and he runs over the hill. So I get back, go all the way back out, go around, and I get a couple miles on the other side of him, and I watch him thinking, I'll just watch him till it beds down. I'll go kill him. he don't bed. So I leave and go try to get permission on this HMA. I had to drive like 40 minutes to get service. I get service. Well, this HMA is only for elk. It's not for antelope. So I
Oh
could drive
gosh.
all the way back in there. I relocate him. He's still like standing in the same spot that he was 2 hours ago. Hasn't bedded. And I'm like, dang it, dude. He's right on the line. But I end up getting close to him again. But man, like I said, I just gave him a haircut. I kept trying. I finally gave up because he got into that HMA. And I made one other stalk and got real close on he wasn't as big, but another nice goat that I actually thought there's no way that I got here. I thought I'd already scared off the does and was kind of giving up on it, and end up seeing 2 does bedded and got the camera set up again. Get eyes on an antelope. I can't see its head. It's walking up towards me. It's getting close. It's going to step out at 40 yards. So I get the camera all set up, and out steps the antelope, 38 yards on the aisle, everything. Lifts its head. It's a doe. And she walks directly at me out in the open. Once again, no cover. But I mean, had it been the buck, it would have had another shot opportunity. But she got up there and got it way out in the open and started looking and was like, what is going on? And she busted out of there right away. So I thought maybe he might follow her. I knew I didn't have any choice unless it was him walking up the hill at that point. But pretty good first day. I should have been done.
Yeah,
So
that's some good hunts, man. I mean,
yeah,
it's at least you didn't wound. I always it's terrible to wound. So you gave him a haircut, you found him, he's fine. Try
yeah.
again. That's the worst thing is I don't mind
And,
missing.
you know, I used to be all bunched up. I still like I couldn't leave it alone because I just, usually when I shoot, man, even if I don't kill, a lot of times it's I don't miss by a lot. You know what I mean? I'm either getting some hair or making a bad shot because if it's high or low, I'm usually still in the body cavity somewhere. So
Mhm.
I just kept with it and checking it out, but no, that he wasn't hurt or anything, so that was good. But I mean, I think you're the same way too. Is if you're going to be successful a lot, you got to shoot. I know
Oh yeah.
a lot of people don't. I mean, we don't want to wound. That's why we practice and why we try not to uh, do anything wrong. But I am not afraid to pull the trigger when it comes to hunting. So,
No, me neither.
and that's
Respectfully,
why,
I shoot a lot for that purpose. That's why I shoot so many reps, and can step out and just fling one at long yardages and all the way to short, and thread the needle. I mean, even growing up at local 3D shoots, we always did like they called it Hunter's Challenge stake. And they put you off in the weeds and you'd have to, thread it between, a vine and the tree, like that stuff will get in your head. But, you go in the woods and there's going to be, you know, things in the way. You don't want to be thinking, oh, what if I hit that tree? You want to be dialed in on the animal. So I
yeah.
agree
And
with you.
if if you wait till perfect, you're not going to get much experience with putting animals down. I mean,
Right.
I take I try not to shoot too far. I mean, on the antelope, if hunting them as much as I have, man, they got like this zone. Once you get under 80, it's danger zone for them. Those animals know that something's up and they don't put up with looking at stuff very often. Like I was surprised that he even got out in the open far enough for me to have a clear shot at him because their eyes set so far up on top of their head. If you're peeking over anything cover wise, they'll pick it up right away. The one thing that I've got to do with trying to film on my own is having that camera on a tripod, and I set that up in front of me just like I set my bow up in front of me, and it gives you a little bit of cover, believe it or not. Like that's a breakup that's in front of you that's usually stationary. I do the
Mhm.
same thing in the tree stand with bows. I especially hunting out saddles, I got that bow in between me and where I think the deer are going to come by. So, that it's just another breakup.
That's
Um,
a good tip.
yeah. And I mean, I look at yesterday as a very it was a success, even though I didn't, get to put a tag on an animal because if you've ever spot and stalked them, you'd know what I mean, how hard it is to do that with a bow. And,
Mhm.
we've been doing it for years and been pretty successful at it. It just usually takes a lot more than one stalk to get it done, and some luck. I should have been done, but I wasn't too upset. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I hit exactly where I was aiming. He just wasn't there when the arrow got there.
It's archery. It's
Yeah,
archery,
for
man.
sure. Oh, with whitetail getting started here tomorrow for me, I think we're gonna go ahead and talk about your story from 24 with your Indiana buck.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to save it that way. It seems like after each season, like let's just say like TikTok or whatever, you'll see like during turkey season, like all these turkey videos, and like once turkey season's over, then like you don't see them anymore. So same with deer hunting. By the time I killed him, I think it was November 24th area, so a little bit later for archery. Of course it was rifle season, but I shot him with a bow, and I don't know. We hadn't started the podcast yet. I don't like to flaunt or anything like that. So by the time we got this podcast going, I'm like, man, let's just wait till people are gearing up for whitetail season. This will kind of get them fired up. And I don't know, it's really not that great a story, but I guess we can go through it.
So
You know,
you you didn't have, if I remember right, you didn't have any experience with this buck.
so just to kind of start from ground zero, I did not have permission on this property until middle of October. I picked up permission and did a little bit of scouting, and believe it or not, I found just the craziest scrape. Actually, I set a camera out, and it was just kind of like there's no ag or anything, just kind of a hayfield, like kind of a crossing. I got a couple bucks, this and that, and I went back and scouted again. I didn't have a whole lot of time, and I was focusing on our other properties because it's hard to judge by trail cam picture, but we had about 175-inch deer on one of the properties, and I was pretty excited about that. And so I just kind of had this, but I knew by the landscape, just on Onyx and everything, that this area had the potential, and the county that it was in, to produce a deer of this class. So I went back, scouted, and I found the biggest scrape. And I think it was more of a community scrape, but just if it seemed like every deer in the area was hitting this scrape. There was actually like three within like 15 feet, but this was the biggest. And I don't know if this has anything to do with anything, but it was on a walnut tree.
Oh,
Like
really?
the limb was a walnut tree. And I think I'd seen that before. So I don't know if that's a tip, but like just maybe check walnut trees. Maybe somebody else can say, "Oh, that's a good tree for scrapes." But I ended up putting the camera on that tree, and had just a ton of activity, and really saw what this property could produce.
Was there a lot of does in on that piece?
So when I would hunt this piece prior to this, I mean, just deer every time.
Really?
It laid well, and I passed several bucks up on this piece of property. I had a video of an 11 pointer, just kind of an old school 11 pointer, but he was probably 140-inch, which that's respectable with a bow, but he was young. I would say, 3.5. A lot of 130-inch 8 and 10s, nothing with any age. And there was one night, and it was right, that last half hour, and I rattled in. And this deer, I got him in the binos. He never got that last half hour. I can't send anything like over 30 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just depending on the day. Because it was definitely within range, but I just don't feel comfortable. So I got him in the binos, and this was probably 150-inch deer, just a good deer, solid 10, tall, wide mass. And I just couldn't get him any closer. I was kind of silhouetted for that time of the day, and I think he just knew something was up. But just it was a joy to hunt the piece of property from the beginning.
Right on. Uh, Had you so you'd passed up one deer on that farm. I know you'd hunted quite a bit before this occurred. Had you had much opportunity besides that deer?
I we had some pretty good pictures. Like I said, at one of our farms, we had about a 175-inch deer. Just guessing, and never could connect with him. I actually had a buddy who had the same picture of him, and it was a road over. I mean, this deer was like 3 to 5 miles away, so he was a ridge runner, so to speak. And there was another piece of property that I hunted, and this was right in the middle of rut, probably first or second week in November. Had great rut action. Probably had three around 130-inch, 8, 10 points. Chasing, a couple does around. Of course, you got your spikes and stuff around. Just a great hunt. I knew that hunt had the potential for a big one to show up, because usually your smaller bucks, it seems like, will come by first, and then here comes the big boy. And that's what we've seen in the past. And Dad has a story where I think he saw 6 bucks, and finally, a good one showed up, and he was probably 150-inch deer. Um, and a big one did show up this hunt, and I could not make it all connect. He
Yeah.
was probably just a big mainframe 10, um, probably 150 inches area. Just by seeing him, it wasn't. I just couldn't make all the dots connect with him, and I was pretty upset about that. But obviously, after this deer, I'm not so upset. God has a plan. It's just I much rather miss that opportunity. But that
When
was a good hunt.
when was that in November?
That was the first or second week. I mean, I could probably look back. I know my buddy had a birthday party, believe it or not, and it was warm that day. So I went to it, and it was like his daughter's birthday party or something. And I was there with some guys, and they were hunters too. And it started to lightly rain. I'm like, boys, if it keeps lightly raining, I'm out of here. Because if you know anything, like, a light rain, man, is gold. I don't care what the temperature is. And it did. So I snuck out in the stand, and I wasn't out there very long. Like, I didn't have a very long hunt. Just goes to show, like, even if you have an hour and a half during the rut, like, you better get in the stand if the weather meets or this or that. So that was a great hunt. But I will say that past year was not my best year. Like, I had a lot of hunts, and even the past couple years, just a lot of hunts that's why I kind of quit filming. Like, it wasn't worth carrying the weight. And I'd have good deer on film, but year prior, we had like 196-inch get poached. Um, that good one we had last year, he was a ridge runner, couldn't really pattern anything, missed the opportunity with this. So honestly, rifle, once rifle opens up, because what, the 24th, this would have been like the second weekend of rifle when this happened. Usually that weekend is not a very good weekend. The guns come out that first weekend. It's not too bad. They're chasing deer around, and then the deer kind of go dormant. So it's usually not that good at hunting. So I guess I'll just go ahead and tell the story. This was a Sunday morning, and I woke up early, and I was just laying in bed, just contemplating, should I even go? Yeah, I was like, I full on a minute, like, man, because I've been hitting it hard. Like, my wife was getting pissed, because when rut happens, something changes in your blood. And you kind of
How
like,
was the rut there in Indiana last year? Was it any good or
not
was it
good,
slower?
not good. Like, that was the one good hunt I had. I couldn't make it all come together. So I had one good rut hunt. I'll say I had a couple others. I had a good, I don't know, just from the distance, 145, 150-inch, I thought I patterned. And the one night I set up to where he was coming through this gap, I had good rut action, but it was just small, like just little eights. I had a lot of that, just 120-inch everywhere.
Yeah.
So I guess the rut action wasn't too bad, but as far as like big deer, even seeing them from a distance was that one hunt I described when it was raining. So just to put that in perspective, it's raining a little bit. We'll stay inside. When it's pouring down rain, different story, but a light rain is gold for bow hunting.
I mean, it definitely seems like those big bucks, even during the rut. Like I would almost always love to be hunting, during the rut. Some people don't like to even hunt then, but it's just that, the thought of the big one coming through. But most of the time, man, if they show themselves more than one day, that, you're doing well. You're in a good area, I guess, because it seems like you're going to get a ton of those 2 and 3 year olds because they'll chase the crap out of the does before the does are ready. And the big guy just like, it's like he shows up in the last half hour when she's ready and,
Hmm.
grabs her and takes her off and will hang
Yeah.
out with her until he's done. So, but
I'll be honest with you. I like the rut like everybody, but I really enjoy if you have a good late season plot. I love a late season bow hunt. And that was the biggest deer I've seen from the stand was a late season alfalfa hunt.
yeah,
And I just he came in, I never could get him within range.
I
But
know Obendorf's always wanting me to try to come. Well, he keeps saying that sometime we got to do a late December
yeah.
Illinois hunt over food because he sees a ton more deer, but it's also hard to get close and get that squared away to where it works out.
And the
But
cold is tough, man, with bow hunting. When it gets
yeah,
that cold, drawing back, that many clothes on, this and that, and it's been a long season at that point. But man, you can really pattern one, or you can really corner one. Like especially this particular time, it had been sub-zero temperatures for 3 days, and everybody's like, "Oh, go out and hunt those days." You don't want to hunt the days that are that cold. It's the day that it warms up, and I learned this. That 4th day, it warmed up to, like, 40 degrees, and it was just like a spark went off in the
really,
woods. I had never seen so many deer come to a field as that day. I mean, I had, at least 10 deer in the field the whole time. It's not a huge field, and then that last 45 minutes, just pouring in, and that 100 this deer got poached, but he was 196 inches is what they measured him at.
yeah,
And I know there was another 160 and 150. Like, this is just where everybody was coming this time of year. Like, they had bunched up. And I couldn't get him in range, before it got dark. So I actually, because, this is like a farmer type property, I had dad get down out of his stand. He was on the other side of this two sides of the road and drive his truck back there to get him out of the field. Because I'm like, I still had time in the season, I
yeah,
didn't want them to know where I was and like my stand because they'll pattern you. And I had him come back there and kind of drive in the field and shine his lights and kind of spook them off so I could get out of there. Right or wrong, I mean, it didn't work. So I never did see him again, but it was worth a try.
yeah, for sure. So to get into the actual day of that, did you say the date of that was November what?
24th, I believe.
Okay, so is that second? Was that the first weekend or second weekend of gun season?
Second weekend. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was laying in bed debating even going because usually that
Yeah,
second weekend is not, they're kind of dormant. And
you got
I,
7, 8 days of guns going off at that point.
yeah, and my spots are set up for archery. I still just take a bow, and I'm glad I did, because wasn't that far of a shot. But I don't know. So, anyways, I was laying there. I woke up early, so that's gonna be kind of a key part of the story. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna go based on cameras and pictures. The one over at this property is, let's just say, the 175-inch deer. That's the biggest deer I have on camera. So that's where I'm going. So everything was already in my vehicle. I kind of leave it in there all weekend. Get in the truck, get on the road, couple miles. I'd say I'm halfway to this spot. And this is a tip if you're running cameras, which some people do this all the time, but definitely once season starts kicking up, have your camera send pictures every occurrence. Because right now, to save battery life, I do it once or twice a day, like where they all flood in. I'm driving down the road, and I get a picture, and it's this deer
Huh.
on the property I'd gotten uh, permission, and I'd taken off early, luckily. So I'm like, this is a no brainer. So I turn around and redirect and go to this property. And mind that the stand that I have is on the opposite side of the farm as my camera. And I didn't even really look at this deer because I was driving and I just knew he's big. Like the picture I got, he was big.
Yeah, that's a question I was getting ready to ask was, were you worried about spooking him going in? I assumed your camera was close to your stand.
No, it was on the other side, but I'm like, I gotta go,
How far away would you say the camera was from your tree stand?
So picture like a hayfield ridge top. It would be on like the left side down in the holler, and my stand is on the right side, kind of up on I would say, let's just go yardage wise, 400 yards.
Okay. Did you think the deer was working your way from the picture?
I mean, he was hitting a scrape.
Okay,
I
so
guess he wasn't, he was kind of, yeah. I, that wasn't really like, I know he's going to come by my stand type. It was just like, I've got to get over there because you
yeah,
never
yeah.
know. He was, I guess, would be heading towards the back of the property and I'm to the right. So not directly towards my stand, but that's the path he took. And so by the time I get to this property, it's already getting towards legal shooting light. I would say 5 minutes since legal shooting light. So that's when I pull up. So I'm like, man, I got enough time. I'll use the lay of the land. Actually, I dipped in early to get to my stand and get down the ridge and this and that. So I slip in, and this particular morning was the cloudiest, foggiest morning. And that goes to show, so I think in the last podcast I said something like it was a low lighting, like how it is with cameras. Like it takes a good hour before you can actually see decently out of a camera to see, at least
Yeah.
mine. I don't have a very good one. So I wanted to mention that. I want to people to think that you got to watch your wording, I guess. But anyways, so basically I'm showing up late, but it's still right there. So I just get in my stand. It's a ladder stand. I get up there as quiet as possible, get all situated. I'm sitting there, get on my phone to kind of like look again. Like, man, that's a really good deer. And actually, I got two pictures of him. So he stayed at that scrape for, 30 seconds at least. I think I have it on 10-second intervals. And by the way, this is the first time this deer has showed up. Like I knew the caliber of deer was possible for the area. And say what you want, but it definitely helped me in this situation. So I get up there and it's getting light and this and that, and I hear something to my left. I'm like, okay. So I pull up the binos. Like I love binos, dude. Hunt with binos. I used to not. Like I can't go anywhere without them. And all I see is just bone, like just just horns, and like I immediately put my binos down, and he is coming at a beeline right towards me.
How far was he when you first seen him?
Uh, 80 yards. 80
And this
yards.
is wooded where he's coming through?
Yeah, this is a thicket he's coming out of. There's a little thicket, and leaves were on the, but like I said, it was foggy, kind of a damp. So it's not like it's a. It was more of like a rustling. That's why I think he was able to get in within 80 yards before I knew he was over there. So I think I pulled him up in a binos again because there's a path that a lot of times they'll hit that's like 40 yards away, and they'll take it and they'll go down this ridge. And I'm like, I don't freaking care. 40 yards, but it's in the woods and it's kind of like it's a weird, it's like a far 40 yards, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. I don't know how to explain it. I'm like, I'll shoot him right there, you know? And dude, usually I hadn't seen a whole lot of deer do this. He just kept coming. It's like to my left. Usually they'll hit this path and kind of come past me slash away like a 45. It
How was the wind?
wasn't that good. I swear. It usually this stands good for like a southwest west type wind, and the thermals were still kind of going down. So they were
Really?
going to my right. So the wind is good, but as soon as he gets in front of me, not so good. And he's on a bead line coming right directly towards me. So here he's coming. I mean, we're at like 30. Let's just say 35, 30. I probably drew back right around then. And freaking I draw back and I've got a nose button and it's not in place, which no big deal. Go back to natural instincts, line your peep up with your sight housing, but it still threw me off. I'm like, what the heck? And I'd been hunting so much that I just yanked it off. I hunt with my bow. Like
Yeah.
people don't realize, like I had a guy at work, he trades and buys and sells bows, and mine's all scratched up, the limb, like I got to replace my limb. I threw my stick down and hit my limb with my bow. Like I couldn't perceive the depth, and jacked it up, and it's actually got a little splinter on it. I got to watch it, but that's beside the point. So I draw back. He's walking, and like I was gonna stop him, but something just said don't. Dude, he walks like I'd say 15 to 20 yards right in front of me and starts rubbing a tree,
Was
like
he broadside or facing you at this point?
broadside as can be.
Gee
Like
whiz.
I'm telling you,
So
if there's a gift from God, this was it for me. That season just brought him right to me, and I shot him raking a tree. Let's just say 20 yards away. And my
so
first,
no clue that you're in the area or
I didn't even
anything?
say, I didn't go,
Yeah.
nothing. He was raking a tree. He'd already stopped right in front of me, and so it happened so fast, and I guess I got tunnel vision. I didn't, and maybe because it was so close, I didn't like see the entry. It just felt good. And my first pin is 30. So I was aiming a little low. And maybe he was a little farther than that. Maybe he was more like 25 and I kind of put it at the brisket. So I shot. He doesn't know what's going on. He kind of trots off and stops again at 60.
Did he duck at
And
all?
no, he was
No.
raking a tree. No
Yeah.
idea I was there. I was going to fling another one at 60. Just like, I mean, if you can get another one in
Yeah.
him, like you can. But as soon as I got drawn back, he kind of eluded. Um, just there wasn't a shot. So it happened so fast, man, that like I didn't even get the chance to get buck fever, or I like tried to not look at his rack, but I didn't even really realize the caliber he was because he was just on the move the whole time. I pulled him up in the binos, saw bone. I'm like, jeez. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'm gonna get down.
What did you have any kind of guess of how big this deer was when you shot? Or you
One 160 is what came to my mind when I saw
just
him on
knew it was
camera.
big, mature deer?
Yep. I just knew 160 when I saw him on my phone real quick. It just all happened so fast. So after this, I'm like, I need to quit saying like so much. I get down out of the stand and I'm just gonna go because it was so close. I'm just gonna go see if I can find my arrow. That's a lot of times what I do because it was right there in front of the stand.
Okay, before you got down and checked, did you text your dad at this point yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had called dad when I turned around. I called
Okay.
him because he was up hunting too. I'm like, I got to turn around, because I think we were meeting at this farm or something. So I texted him and I said, I just shot him or something. I could look back at the text. I think I screenshot him for documentation.
If I remember right, I'm pretty sure that you text me before you found him too. I
Yeah,
think you I
I
think you had
text.
told me that you shot a big buck.
I
But
texted
I'd
a
have to
couple
look
people.
back
Yeah.
because I know I was like pictures, pictures. I kept sending you texts and you weren't responding. I was like, come on, find this thing. I want to see what it is, you know?
I,
Because I think
me
maybe
too.
what it was you sent me a picture of the trail cam after like, so there was some delay. I got a picture of the trail cam pic that you had got after
Yeah.
you shot it, obviously, but you had sent that to me, and then it was like waiting for you guys to find the buck and stuff. And I was like, come on, I want to see this thing. Mm.
Well, so going back, I got down. It, like I said, it wasn't very far in front of the stand, right in front of the stand. Got my arrow. It was good blood, and I'm shooting you because you're going to ask. I'm shooting a Sever Hybrid 1.5. Really not the best whitetail at this point in time. I'm like, man, I should have had the Mega Meat on. I'd feel more comfortable because this is so much more cutting. Because I thought I was low. I'm like, oh, I think it might
Yeah.
be a little low. So good blood. I back out, and this property is beautiful. And there's a patch of cedars kind of off in the distance. So I don't know. You know me and my faith. I just go over there and get down on my knees and I start praying. Man, I called Dad too, and but I just took that time to pray, give him time, call Dad, and he's all excited. And I'm so glad I made this decision. I almost told him, "Hey, I'm feeling pretty good. I'll find him. Then you can come help me get him." He's like, "Well, I can come over there, this or that." And I'm like, and also we go to church on Sunday mornings. So that's also another time constraint. This was, pretty early in the morning, luckily, but by the time you give him some time, this and that, we want to make church, but also you want to get the animal and it was going to be kind of warmer that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because I ended up using my buddy's walk-in freezer. So anyways, I said, okay, uh, come on over and we'll track him together.
So your
And
dad basically quit his hunt when you text him and
oh yeah, he
got
knew the
down
cat.
right away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he had the trail cam picture, so I mean, he
Yeah.
was, how we all are. I mean, we'd all be the same way for each other. So,
Yeah.
and to see a deer like that, it doesn't come around very often, at least for me, to trail something like that.
Yeah.
So he comes over, show him this and that, and just immediately, because I almost didn't like. You're always tempted after you find good blood on your arrow to like just walk 10 yards and see. And I didn't this time. So I had no idea. And dude, as soon as we start walking, it's like,
Porn.
oh, it's just pouring. And I'm like, oh, praise the Lord.
It it is definitely one of those things, like, it don't matter what broadhead you shoot a lot of times. If you make a good shot, you know right away. I mean,
Yep.
the blood is gonna tell you instantly if it's gonna be a long day or if, "Hey, this thing's laying down here." I try not to ever be overconfident, when you step on that trail, but man, seems like you know very quick on
Yeah.
especially if you got the arrow and you can see that first blood, you know?
Yeah. And I guess I should revert after because I said I pulled back at 60 and I couldn't get a shot. After that, he kind of trotted and I thought I heard a crash, but I wasn't like, oh, he's down type crash. It's like, did he break a stick?
Yeah.
Did he hit a log? So, anyways,
So he definitely was out of view, got
he
out of
went
view is
down over the ridge. Yes.
okay,
So we're blood trailing. As soon as we get to like the edge, it kind of drops off. He didn't even make it to the bottom. He
really.
was right there, man. And just so glad I waited for Dad to be there. It's the biggest buck we've walked up on together, and
Who saw him first?
I was leading. I was
Okay.
leading. I did, and you know how it gets. Just all praise. And honestly, at first, we still weren't like, still didn't realize how big he was. It took a while for that to sink in, but the shot was low, like I thought. And that Sever hybrid, I looked at the heart. It was a heart shot. It didn't even go through the heart. There was two slices in the heart, one from the fixed side and a little bit of a bigger one from the mechanical side of the Saber hybrid. So we're talking 2 inches lower, and this we're not sitting here telling the
H-
story.
how far did he make it?
100 yards,
Yeah.
I'd say.
It's
Hmm.
it's weird sometimes is like I'm a big fan of, obviously everybody is making a hard shot, but I think animals make it less distance on a true double lung. If you take out the air, it seems like sometimes they don't get as far.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that's the story. I wish it was like, been watching him for 3 years and has his sheds, but when you go around getting permission and you're running cameras, this is kind of a story that can be common, I guess.
Well, I
That's
mean, like the area you're hunting, and I know where I hunt in Illinois, man, these big bucks that we see one time.
hmm
It just they're running these ridges looking for new does after they've bred out the area that they live in, and
yep,
they'll put some distance on, and uh, that's how they end up on a farm where they haven't ever been, and
yep,
that's the time of year that you see these giants. And what's so awesome about the rut is just that what monster could come by at any
hmm
moment. And that's why I like hunting the whole day. I wasn't a huge fan of that, years ago, but the more I do it, the more I see big bucks, that middle of the day. I know yours was first thing in the morning, but it's just the rut they can be there at any moment.
I know it was a different situation. I don't know. I still say it was a blessing from God. He brought him right to me, and couldn't, because my wife listens to these, couldn't have done it without her putting up with me during the rut, and I almost slept in and didn't go. I'll admit that, even though I just been hitting it so hard, and you can get lax. And glad that I didn't, because if I'd have fell back asleep, we wouldn't be here. But you got to just stay persistent, man, and even not that season, but seasons to come. Because there's several seasons leading up to this. I'd had success, but other ones, there's been seasons I don't kill a buck. I pass a lot trying to kill a mature deer, and I'm okay with that because I love to hunt. I'm not just um out there to be just a killer. I love the hunt and just the spiritual aspect of it, and be out in God's creation. And it's it was memorable though.
Oh yeah. I know I was extremely excited the day of, I mean, we probably hadn't even talked in a few weeks or something at that point.
Yeah.
Besides, well, I say that during the rut, I can remember we had a text group going with your dad and me and you, and I think Rob was on there, just kind of what everybody was seeing every day,
Yeah.
passing time while you're in the tree. But I hadn't heard from you, got gun season. Nobody had got one put down there during the first 2 weeks of November, and you text me that picture and shot. So I'm like waiting because I mean, I'll shoot I don't have to kill a big one by any means, but I definitely know about scoring them and like seeing
Yeah.
a big deer. And when you sent me the picture, like I kept going, like, you guys are underestimating this thing. Cause I remember you telling me a number and I was like, this deer's a lot bigger than that, dude.
I know. I did. I think
Cause I
I
think you guys
guesstimate
were,
him 170 is what I was thinking at first.
I think you said that at one point in time, and you had done some measurements and you sent me, I think, width and one main beam. And I just guesstimated from those two measurements on it. And I think I told you, I was like, I said, I hate even saying this, but I'm like, this deer's going to be upper 180s, maybe.
Hmm.
So I was actually ended up being way closer than I expected, but,
You were
um,
very close, and I felt guilty because I hadn't measured a lot of deer of this size, because he has 17 scoreable points. And when I first measured him, I think I was at 191 or 193, and I was like, that can't be right.
yeah.
So
Well, we
I
just,
tried to I tried to do it conservatively, and I still ended up at like 188. So I called my taxidermist and I sent him a picture. I'm like, is this like, do I know what I'm doing? like because it was just I didn't want to be that guy like because you always have this like oh I killed a 160 and it's probably 140 I didn't want to be that
Oh
guy that's
yeah.
blowing this deer out of proportion. So he's like, no, that thing has a lot of bone. He's like, I can see that. And I'm like, I want to bring this over to you this evening, if that's okay. Have you score it, and at this point, I'm gonna mount it. So I did, and make a long story short, with that, he came up with a measurement of 180, 85, and I think I had came up with something like 186. So I'm like, okay, and that's not that I was happy, like, gosh, in the
Yeah.
180s. And so for the longest time, I told people this was 185-inch deer, and I kind of wish I wouldn't have. I wish I just at this point I'll just trust my instincts. Yeah, so I'm going to say he scored 192 and 7/8, almost 193.
Yeah,
Gross.
that was his
That's
gross
that's
score.
total. Yeah.
What what was he as a like a mainframe? Was he a 12 mainframe?
Um. It says. I mean, here he is, right here. I'll just go ahead
Yeah,
and
I
pull
do
it
want
up.
to see him. Yeah, I've
And he's not wide. He just has so many long points. I think the
so
longest one
he
is
is 1, 2, 3.
just a couple on the back here. He's got his turkey foot.
So
Right
he's a
here.
mainframe 6x7, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But that was something I remember about him is just everything on him was long. His long times, good main beam length, got
This is
heavy mass all the way through.
this is over 12 inches here, and the
But
rest are 10 or 11. So I think he averages out around 10.5 inches on each point or something crazy.
yeah, keep him in front of the camera there for a little bit.
Sorry. Where's a
Yeah.
good angle for you?
It's all good when you're looking at a deer like that, man. Yeah, and I love when they get the points on the bases. He's got triple brow on the one side. I
Looks
think
like
you
a
said it looked like
turkey
a turkey foot.
or a turtle foot, something.
Yeah.
And
Just
then back
just
back here, it's like I'll bring this up. He's got some weird stuff going on, like right here.
he's got like double daggers off the back that are about an inch long.
One of these, the guy from Boone and Crockett, and this is official, everybody. Boone and Crockett. I didn't want to say the official. One of these he didn't count, and I think he should have. He's like, well, it just would hurt you. It was like if it's within, if it's within like an eighth or something of an inch, then you round up. I think with
I
scoring or
I think
piling.
so. I mean, like the points have to be an inch to count.
Yeah, it was like
I've
right
I've
there on
got
the
to the
line.
I've got to the point where like I mean, I don't turn anything in, but I definitely like knowing what an animal scores. Usually can get pretty close on whitetail and a guess, but I like scoring them. I like
It
doing
is
that.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we all like shooting deer when it comes down to it, but I mean, you're looking at a deer that you know. I hope that you get to shoot one bigger, but my goodness, I mean, that's a giant.
Hmm.
Everybody looks at the 200-inch mark on whitetail, and that guy's within 15 inches of it. I'm trying to
Yeah.
find the picture. I had it up here a second ago.
Um, I mean, I have the sheet. And I don't want to to harp on score too much. I mean, he was a very old deer. Uh, I mean, not very. He was very mature, but he ended up scoring because they scored him typical. So without the non-typical points, from my understanding, he was 186, and then with deductions, and I hate to even say this because he looks symmetrical, and this is why a lot of people don't like um, your net. It brought him down to 167 and an eighth.
Yeah, and that's so crazy, man. Because I'm looking at. I got a little confused on some of the sheet. It looked like he had almost 19 inches, I think, of deductions. That's
Mm-hmm.
like I used to be all about Pope and Young. One of our friends back here in Indiana was a scorer, so we were always scoring deer with him, and that was when I learned a lot when I was a kid because he was doing it officially for Pope and Young. But I've gotten to the point where I don't like the deduction at all. Like
I
I
mean,
just always state it as being a gross score when I say something, you
that's what
know.
most people are saying.
And
When they look at a deer, they're saying the gross score. Nobody can. I wouldn't have guessed this deer would have had this many deductions.
I don't like taking to me it's just taken away from the animal when you deduct because it's not symmetrical. I understand that a little bit, but there's other scoring systems. I think Buckmasters keeps track of everything, and there's a new thing with displacement of water. Have you heard that one? Where basically, like, if you imagine it, you have a bucket of a certain amount of water in it. Say there's a gallon of water in a bucket, and you dip all the horns in, and the score is whatever water is pushed out of the bucket. So
Okay.
it's like a true takes credit for every little knob and point and everything that's on a horn. I don't know a lot on it. I had a buddy that I don't know if this thing had existed for a long time, but my buddy Michael Simpson, I remember he had talked about it. He's like, there should be a scoring system for water displacement and stuff, and like there's
How
some
do they
people using
factor
that
in
now.
the skull?
So it's however they do that. It's just the horn. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm just trying layman's terms to describe it as like
Hmm.
you got a 5 gallon bucket and you dip just the horns in it. However
Yeah,
much water comes
I've
out's
not
what
heard of
that
that.
animal scores. I looked a little bit last year, just interested in it because the funny thing is that buddy of mine, Michael, I mean, we talked about that 15 years ago. And
Yeah,
so I don't know if it was a thing or just something that he had thought of. And because I think we even did it one time up here in North Dakota, like dipped a horn in a bucket of water, just messing around, seeing how
that's
much came out.
interesting.
But no, I like, I'm looking at the sheet, you know, it just sucks sometimes. I feel like it takes some air out of you and it's like, oh, I killed 170 inch. Well, he technically scored 149 because of 21 inches of deduction. And
I
I
don't know.
love bucks like what you shot where they got those kickers all over them because that's age,
I
you
I
know?
like the uniqueness of them, so I don't really care. I'll tell you this: I don't know if I'll do the whole process again. If I kill another deer of this caliber, I don't know if I'll turn it in. I don't even know if I'll post much about it. I don't want to go into detail, but obviously some neighbors they get upset, multiple and this and that, and this deer was taken, man, as legal as it gets. You know
Do
what
you
I mean? And
know
not that anybody was saying, but it was so perfect. The shot was great. The deer never left the property. Because you know how sometimes like if you have to ask for permission to go retrieve, like
Yeah.
it just was picture perfect. Like brought him into me, perfect. Good shot, clean kill, and I don't want to. The property owner just a dear friend at this point, and I just couldn't be more fortunate to have the opportunity. And it's a shame, for those of you out there that get upset. I mean, listen, you're gonna have neighbors. Whitetail hunting is not fair. It's never gonna be fair. We've had several deer get killed by neighbors. There's a 12-year-old out there that shot a probably 10 bigger deer than me already, with a crossbow or something. It's just they
Right.
get stupid during the rut. They're patternable. There's also this thing called land management and money. If you have 1,000 acres and multiple redneck blinds and you are growing deer, then you're gonna kill bigger deer. So you
Yeah, it's
know,
it's
don't get
tough.
upset. I get upset if people poach or bait or this or that, but if somebody kills one, man, honestly, you just tip your hat and go on. I don't care if he's been on your property the last 5 years. He wasn't then.
Yeah, as
So,
long as it's done right. I mean, it's hard, especially like where you're at. There's a lot of 5, 10, 20, 40 acre lots,
hmm
and deer are going to move through all of that
yep,
in one day, especially during
yeah,
the rut. It's an awesome deer, man. I love seeing big deer, big white. Grew up hunting whitetail. I'm still obsessed with them,
yeah.
and last year was fun. I killed the one over my right shoulder last year here in North Dakota, and probably it's all public ground I hunt here, but that was probably only about a 3-year old, just a nice, decent 8 point, close to Pope and Young or somewhere in that area. I never did actually score that deer, but and um, I killed during the rut in Illinois another probably 3-year old, which I have no issue shooting, especially when I'm on a hunt somewhere hunting, and it wasn't at a particular place where you got to shoot a certain size or anything like that.
Oh no. And then
No,
after this
my
year, it's not like I'm gonna only shoot
yeah,
190 inch, like I
you
can't set
you
that
won't
bar.
you
No,
won't get
you
many
just
opportunities.
yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to even find them, let alone get it done. So, I'm still just a true blue archery. 145-inch deer is very respectable for this area, and we've had some rough years, man. So,
Dude,
I
anytime you're touching that 150 for about anywhere in the country on whitetail on just the regular person hunting ground, I mean, yeah, that's a stud. 150
yes,
is the mark that I think is huge, but I mean, both the deer I shot last year didn't come close to 150. It's just for me, it's however I feel in the moment and where I'm at. Like North Dakota, unless I've got a big buck, it's just going to be whatever triggers me. And this buck was chasing does, and I was trying to get ready to go Illinois, and I wanted to be done in North Dakota, and made a
yep,
long shot on him, and was got lucky and was successful on that. And then that Illinois hunt, it came down the wire. I think I killed it the last second, either the must have been the second to last day in the morning, and had him run by me grunting, and he had ran by me at like 30, 35 yards, crossed onto the neighbor's place, seen him go, and I was like frustrated because I couldn't get him to stop. I don't think he could hear me. And he jumped a fence. This is, he's 100 yards away from me or something. I was fairly close to a property line, but um, kind of down a valley from it, and actually grunted and had the cameras rolling, grunted, and he come right back in. I mean, he
yeah,
came to my tree on a string, and I shot him at 15 yards or something. And
it's fun.
when I had grunted, it was one of the best because I hadn't had a lot of luck. I mean, I've grunted in a few deer, haven't really rattled, had much luck rattling, and even though I try every year. But that was the first one that had come in from me grunting, and two bucks came in. Like he came in, a smaller buck came in first, and I was like, "This is not the deer that just ran by me." And then he was I don't know 130 maybe, but 125, 130 comes on a string and got it on both my Tacticam on the bow and my actual video camera. So that was a lot of fun and made a real good shot. And I think he ran about 60 yards and fell down. So that was pretty cool. And Michael was hunting there close to me that morning, and he, I think he had maybe seen this deer or passed it up. It was one of the bucks we'd seen within the last few days while we were hunting in that area. So it was pretty cool. He's like, "Did you shoot?" Text me. He couldn't see it or anything, but he
Yeah.
heard that bow go off or heard the deer run off, one of the two.
Well, I'll say same year after shooting this deer, I still had a Kentucky tag, and I went over there and had a great hunt. There was a buck chasing does around. Another one came in similar to the one you have right there behind you to the right, 125-inch eight. I didn't know that, and it was a fun hunt. I needed the meat, I wouldn't say I was tired of hunting, but I'd been given a lot that season, so I felt like, I shouldn't get greedy again or anything. And I think I also wanted to try out the mega meat. I used the mega meat on that deer, and it was similar situation. Came in real close, and I was in a saddle, and the thing came right behind me. So you know how that is with a saddle. I was like leaning over, and was all. It was honestly a very hard shot, and Hart shot him too, and he ate great. We're out of. I think we have a package too. We have like a couple roasts left of whitetail and maybe a burger or two of elk. So fall needs to come just for the freezer.
Yeah, you've been
I
burning through that elk.
yeah, my wife loves it. I love it. We're both kind of into fitness and our nutrition, man. So all this, nothing goes to waste. I think I killed those 2 bucks and a doe or two last year than the elk. So we ate all that, just us. I mean, we might have had a couple friends over a time or two, but we eat a lot of wild game, and um, we've decided we need even more this fall. So
Yeah, I was a little disappointed yesterday because I thought because Dad was coming in, he loves antelope, and I was like, "Well, I better take some real fresh loins up there," but just didn't quite. I was thinking
eh,
of that. I got a little video that I want to post because I pulled out this trail or my cell phone for just a second, and I've got footage of my camera set up in front of me and the bow, and you can see the antelope off in the distance coming in. So it's kind of cool little shot, and it's only about 30 seconds. But I kept thinking yesterday, just hunting is such a game of inches because it's like
hmm
all he had to do was stand still, and I would have killed him.
yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
it's the way
it
it
was still a
goes.
great hunt, and dude, I was glad we finally got to talk about your buck from last year.
No, I
It,
I appreciate it. It's probably not that great a story, but that's the story, and glory to God for bringing him to me, because I swear he just came right over to me, raking a tree, just a picture perfect hunt, just a beautiful morning. Got to share it with a lot of good friends. Got to walk up on him with Dad, and I've even got some pictures of my son grabbing the antlers once we got him back. So gonna I talked to the taxidermist a week or two ago, and he's ready for him. So I've honestly not minded. I've wanted to have the rack for the video we have here on the podcast to go over it, but um, yeah, man, I appreciate it.
no, it's one of those things that kind of size of buck is what we all dream of, and I
Yeah.
know I know that you still do. Even though you've got one that's that size, but you can hunt a lifetime and not kill a buck of that caliber. So it's something
hmm
that's very special and definitely a fond memory for sure. So I'm fired up for deer season and wish me
Yeah.
luck. I start
Ho-
tomorrow. So
Hopefully this gets everybody fired up, man. And one thing I'll say is don't start out too hard. Don't get burnt out. Just think of the date that this was killed. November 24th, like I said, things are really dying down, it seems like, and rut's over. You got second rut or this or that. So stay persistent this season. I know you've got multiple tags. I've got 3 different states. So try to get some videos out. Hopefully we can get another one between all of us on the ground, similar to this magnitude. That'd be great. There's a good opportunity between, the states we're hunting and everybody that's within our kind of group to get another one like this down. So hopefully somebody does.
yeah, I just look forward to got a good 3-4 months here. It's started. So
Yep.
I already told my wife goodbye. I'll see her in December. So
Oh, it's crazy. Good for you, man. Well, good luck to everybody. Like we're gonna try to get one a week like we have been doing. If we do miss a week, just know that we're probably hunting, which is a good thing. But we'll get them out, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Danny.
later, man.